Geobyte.
Hello friends, welcome to the Geobyte. In this video, let us discuss the problems for the heat power engineering. Dear friends, all these problems I collected from previous ESET exam papers. Since each and every problem is equally important, my request is you please watch till the last problem and practice. While you are listening and practicing, if you find any doubt, you please send all your doubts to the Geobyte. Definitely, I will answer all your questions within 24 hours. Look at the very first problem, which is given in 1991. Look at the very first problem. A nozzle converts. You know, the nozzle may be looking like this. This is one of the nozzles, simplest nozzles, called converging nozzle. Generally, nozzles are perfectly insulated, therefore, the flow of the steam in the nozzle is adiabatic or reversible adiabatic. The steam is entering to the nozzle with a pressure P1, enthalpy H1. While the steam is passing through the nozzle, pressure of the steam is dropping from P1 to P2. While the pressure is dropping from P1 to P2, enthalpy also dropping from H1 to H2. That drop of enthalpy, here enthalpy drop is occurring, that drop of enthalpy is causing for increasing the velocity from V1 to V2. So the enthalpy drop is causing for increasing the velocity means the kinetic energy of the steam is going to increase. Here in this problem, this enthalpy drop may be called as heat energy. Therefore, the function of the nozzle is to convert heat energy to kinetic energy or enthalpy to kinetic energy. If you ask me to construct the HS diagram, enthalpy versus entropy diagram, enthalpy versus entropy diagram, this is the saturation dome, and this is the critical point. The steam is entering at high pressure P1 and leaving with a pressure P2. Generally, superheated steam is entering to the nozzle. This is the state 1 where the enthalpy is H1. Enthalpy at state 1 is H1. The steam is expanding through the nozzle isentropically to P2 pressure. This is the state 2 where the pressure of the steam is P2 at an enthalpy H2. Here the enthalpy drop in the steam dH equal to H1 minus H2. This drop of enthalpy is converted to kinetic energy. Per kg of the material, it is equal to half into V2 square minus V1 square. So from this we can find the exit velocity of the steam. Anyhow, the function of the nozzle is to convert the enthalpy of the steam to kinetic energy. I hope all of you very clearly understood. Option already we have decided the option B is absolutely correct. Let us take the next problem. Look at the second problem. In impulse turbine, pressure and heat drop occurs in the, in case of impulse turbine, the blades are arranged such that the pressure of the flow remains constant. in both fixed blades and movable blades, pressure of the flow remains constant. But where the pressure of the steam is dropping, at the entrance, nozzles are connected. Those nozzles are arranged such that to drop the pressure, by the time the pressure of the steam is dropping in the nozzle, along with the pressure, enthalpy of the steam is dropping. That means, in case of impulse turbine, the blades are manufactured and arranged to the rotor such that pressure of the flow remains constant. The pressure of the flow in case of impulse turbine is dropping only in the nozzles. Only in the nozzles. Therefore, option A is absolutely correct. I hope you clearly got my point. Let us take the next problem. Look at the third problem. Which of the following is a boiler mounting? You know, boilers are generally constructed with two kinds of equipments: boiler mountings and boiler accessories. Dear friends, boiler mountings are integral parts of the boiler itself. These are the elements which are compulsory required. These are compulsory required components. Whereas boiler accessories, not compulsory equipment, these are used for increasing the performance of the boiler, used for improving the performance of boiler. Accessories are used for increasing the performance of the boiler, whereas mountings are compulsory equipment. So here boiler mountings are fusible plug, comma, safety valve, stop valve, pressure gauge, water level indicator, blow off cock. These are all coming under boiler mountings. Come to the boiler accessories. Example: economizer, air preheater, superheater, feed pump. These are all coming under boiler accessories. Now come to the options. Is asking which of the following is a boiler mounting. Here chimney is coming under one of the accessory. Superheater is an accessory. Economizer is also accessory. Then sensible plug means here it may be fusible plug. Here fusible plug is coming under boiler mounting. Therefore, option C is absolutely correct. I hope all of you clearly understood. Let us go for the next problem. Look at the fourth problem. In our state, a super thermal power station is located at. It is asked in 1994. It means this is the problem for combined Andhra. Means before the bifurcation happened, this problem was asked. So anyhow, the super thermal power plant, option A Nellore, Ramagundam, Vijayawada, Hyderabad. Definitely Ramagundam is the correct option. The super thermal power plant is available in Ramagundam. I hope you clearly got my point. Let's take the next problem. Look at the fifth problem. One of the following methods is adopted for governing of steam turbines in a power plant. It is asked in 1994. There are mainly three kinds of governing mechanisms for the steam turbine. Steam turbine governings are steam turbine governings. Steam turbine governings are first one throttle governing, second one nozzle governing, third one bypass governing. These are the three governings we are popularly using for the thermal power plants or steam turbine power plant. Look at the option. Option A, speed control. Option B, throttle governor. Throttle governing is absolutely correct. Option B is correct. Blow off boiler is not correct. Hit and miss governing, it is also a kind of governing used for the IC engines, internal combustion engines. Hit and miss governing is used for IC engines, internal combustion engines. I hope you got my point. Let us go for the next problem. Look at the sixth problem. For large power production, it is economical to set up. It is asked in 1994. Dear friends, remember the hydroelectric power plants and thermal power plants are popularly used for power production. It is asked for large power production. But hydroelectric power plant demands more initial investment. Compared to hydroelectric power plant, the thermoelectric power plant demands less initial investment since it is asked for economical. It is economical to set up. That means economically less investment is required for thermal power plant. Therefore, you can select the option C. But remember, for the case of hydroelectric power plant, initial investment is absolutely high, but running cost of the hydroelectric power plant is very less compared to steam power plant. Anyhow, initial investment point of view, it is economical to select the steam power plant or thermoelectric power plant. I hope you got my point. Let us take the next problem. Look at the seventh problem. Governing of steam turbine is usually done by option A, throttle governing, absolutely correct. Option B, nozzle governing, also correct. Option C, bypass governing, is also correct. Option D, all of the above. So anyhow, these three governing mechanisms are preferably used for thermoelectric power plant. Let us go for the next problem. Look at the eighth problem. D-level turbine is example of. It is asked in 1996. Option A, reaction turbine. B, simple impulse turbine. Pressure velocity compounding turbine. Velocity compounding turbine. Dear friends, real reaction type turbine is Parsons reaction turbine. Parsons reaction turbine is the example for reaction turbine. simple impulse turbine is the D-level turbine. D-level turbine is the simple impulse turbine. Pressure velocity compounding, it's a kind of compounding turbine, and velocity compounding turbine is called Curtis turbine. Curtis turbine. And remember, there is another kind of compounding turbine called pressure compounding turbine. Pressure compounding turbine. Pressure compounding turbine is called RATU turbine. Is called RATU turbine. RATU turbine is the pressure compounded steam turbine. Curtis turbine is the velocity compounded steam turbine. Anyhow, the D-level turbine is the simple impulse turbine. Therefore, option B is absolutely correct. I hope you got my point. Let us take the next problem. Look at the 9th problem. The following equipment is used as accessory in a boiler. It is asked in 1998. First one, fusible plug, water level indicator, safety valve, economizer. You know, fusible plug is the mounting. It is the mounting. Fusible plug is mounting. Water level indicator also mounting. Mounting. Safety valve is also mounting. Whereas economizer is coming under accessory. Economizer is coming under accessory. Since it is asked for boiler accessory, option D is absolutely correct. Let us take the 10th problem. 10th problem is very easy problem asked in 1998. The formula used for determining the kinetic energy. Kinetic energy, everyone knows it. It is very easy problem. Half mv square. The kinetic energy formula. So half mv square. Option A is correct. Remember, the kinetic energy is the required food for the impulse turbine. Let me write that. Kinetic energy is the required food. Required food for the impulse turbine. For the impulse turbine. A required food means required energy. Example for impulse turbine, the D-level turbine. D-level turbine. Now, if you take the reaction turbine, for reaction turbine, partially kinetic energy and partially pressure energy. Partially pressure energy are the required foods. Required foods for the reaction turbine. Reaction turbine. Example for reaction turbine is Parsons reaction turbine. Parsons reaction turbine. So anyhow, the kinetic energy formula is half mv square. I hope you got my point. Let us take the next problem. Look at the 11th problem. The state of vapor under saturation condition. Under saturation condition is described by It is asked in 2009. The saturation vapor condition is like this. Let us take the temperature versus entropy. This is the saturation dome. This is the saturation dome. And the region right to the saturation dome is superheated region. Superheated region. The region left to the saturated dome is subcooled region. Subcooled region. This subcooled region is also called compressed liquid region. Compressed liquid region. And this is the saturation region. Within the saturation region, two-phase mixture means vapor plus liquid available. Vapor plus liquid. For knowing the condition of saturated vapor, let this is the constant pressure line. Let that pressure line P equal to some 10 bar. In this region, since wet vapor is available, for wet vapor dryness fraction is required to find the properties like entropy or enthalpy or specific volume. Therefore, the pressure and dryness fraction both are required for deciding the state of the saturated vapor. So this entire region is called saturated vapor region. To know the state of the saturated vapor, pressure and dryness fraction or at least temperature and dryness fraction are required. Now look at the options. Pressure alone is not correct. Temperature alone is not correct. Pressure and temperature, no. Pressure and dryness fraction or temperature and dryness fraction also sufficient. Anyhow, option D is absolutely correct. I hope you got my point. It is asked clearly, the state of the vapor under the saturation condition can be decided by pressure and dryness fraction X or temperature and dryness fraction X. Either ways you can find it. I hope you got my point. Let us take the next problem. Look at the 12th problem. Which of the following is an air breathing engine? Dear friends, the jet propulsion systems are two types. Jet propulsion systems are two types. First one, air breathing type. Air breathing type. Second one, non-air breathing type. Non-air breathing type. Non-air breathing type best example is rocket motor. Rocket motor. Again, the rocket motor may be either solid propellant type or liquid propellant type. Solid propellant type or liquid propellant. Dear friends, remember, propellant means the combination of fuel and oxidizer used for the rocket motor is called propellant. That propellant may be available either in the form of solid or liquid. Since the rocket is carrying its own oxidizer tank, it can fly in any medium or in the perfect vacuum also. That's why generally rocket motor is considered under non-air breathing type. Come to the air breathing type. Air breathing type means these are flying within the atmosphere. These are flying within the atmosphere. Examples are turboprop. Turboprop means turbopropeller, turbojet, rocket, ramjet engine, pulse jet engine. Dear friends, remember turbopropeller, turbojet, ramjet engine, pulse jet engine. These are coming under air breathing systems or air breathing type jet propulsion system because these are flying within the atmosphere. Now come to the options. Once again, let me read the problem. Which of the following is an air breathing engine? Liquid propellant type? No. Solid propellant type? Monopropellant type? Propellant means it is coming under the rocket fuel. Turbo propeller, yes, turbo propeller is the air breathing type jet propulsion system. Therefore, option D is absolutely correct. I hope you got my point. Let us take the next problem. Look at the 13th problem. Which of the following steam turbines has high shaft speed? D-level turbine, Curtiss turbine, Ratu turbine, Parsons turbine. Absolutely D-level turbine. Dear friends, remember the D-level turbine is always constructed to work with converging diverging nozzle. Converging diverging nozzle. The steam is available from the converging diverging nozzle for the simple impulse turbine called D-level turbine under supersonic condition. By the time the steam at high velocity is expanding over the D-level turbine, the D-level turbine is running at a very high speed. For minimizing the speed of the turbine, we are going for compounding mechanism. That compounding may be velocity compounding turbine. Velocity compounding is called Curtiss turbine. Pressure compounding is called Ratu turbine. Here Curtiss turbine means velocity compounded turbine. Ratu turbine means pressure compounded turbine. The velocity compounding turbine, pressure compounded turbine are also coming under impulse turbine, but the steam is made to expand in more than one stage in velocity compounding turbine and pressure compounding turbine. Therefore, the speed of the Curtiss turbine and Ratu turbine is comparatively less with respect to D-level turbine. Therefore, D-level turbine can make highest revolutions. I hope you clearly got my point. Once again, my dear friends, remember the steam is entering to the D-level turbine under supersonic condition. By the time the high velocity steam is expanding in the single stage, here D-level turbine is the single stage turbine. By the time the steam is expanding at high velocity in the single stage, since the energy transfer from steam to rotor is very high, therefore D-level turbine is running at very high speed. At that very high speed, structural damage may be occurring due to centrifugal force. For minimizing the structural damage, we are going to expand the steam in more than one stage. That mechanism is called compounding. Compounding means method of reducing the speed of the turbine by expanding the steam in more than one stage is called compounding. Let me write that point. Compounding of turbine means compounding of steam turbine. the method of reducing the speed of the turbine by expanding the steam in more than one stage is called compounding. The main intention of the compounding is to reduce the speed of the turbine. There are different compoundings available. First one is velocity compounding. Second one, pressure compounding. Third one, pressure velocity compounding. I hope you clearly got my point. Let's go for the next problem. Look at the next problem. The force acting on impulse turbine blade is maximum when the blade speed is. You are asked to decide the maximum force on the blade by the steam. It is like this. If I take the force versus blade speed, let us take the blade speed on x coordinate, force on the y coordinate. When the blade speed u equal to 0, though the steam force is acting, then maximum force is acting on the blade. I hope you got my point. Even if the steam is entering to the blade, if the blade is not moving, the maximum force is acting on the blade. By the time the speed of the blade is increasing, the force which is acting on the blade keep on decreasing. Finally, the force which is acting on the blade is becoming 0 when the blade speed equal to steam velocity v1. Here u equal to blade speed, v1 equal to steam entering velocity. The blade speed equal to steam entering velocity, then the force which is acting on the blade equal to 0, because the blade and steam both are maintaining the same speed. Therefore, the steam cannot catch the blade. Therefore, force acting on the blade is becoming 0. Here the force is becoming maximum when the blade speed u equal to 0. I hope you got my point. Similarly, work output is like this. Work output is varying like this. This is the work output. Work output is 0 when the blade speed is 0, and work output is 0 when the blade speed equal to jet speed or steam velocity, and work output is maximum when u equal to v1 by 2. When u equal to v1 by 2, work output is maximum. Work done equal to 0 when case 1 u equal to 0, case 2 u equal to v1. Next, work done is maximum when blade speed equal to half of the jet speed. Similarly, force acts on the blade equal to 0 when case 1 u equal to 0, case 2 u force acts on the blade equal to 0 when u equal to, 1 minute, u equal to v1, u equal to v1, should be very careful, u equal to v1, and the force is becoming maximum, force acts on the blade is becoming maximum when the u equal to 0, blade speed equal to 0. Though the force is maximum, since the blade is not moving, therefore work done equal to 0 when the blade speed is equal to 0. I hope you got my point. Now let us go for the options. Once again, let me read the problem. The force acting on an impulse turbine blade is maximum when the blade speed is 0. When the blade speed is 0, force acts on the blade is maximum. I hope you got my point. Let us take the next problem. Look at the next problem. The component of steam velocity at the nozzle exit that gives speed to the blade is, it is like this. If I take the blade, let the other blade of the turbine with respect to horizontal, 1 minute, with respect to horizontal, assume the steam is made to enter in this direction. Since the steam is entering with a velocity v1 at an angle alpha, it is developing two component of velocities. The horizontal component of velocity, this is the horizontal component of velocity, horizontal component of velocity equal to v cos alpha, and this is the vertical component of velocity v sin alpha. This horizontal component of velocity is called whirl velocity, and vertical component of velocity is called flow velocity at inlet vf1. Remember, this horizontal component of velocity is causing for driving the turbine, and vertical component of velocity is for driving the steam towards the condenser. Let me write that point. The horizontal component of velocity, the horizontal component of velocity the horizontal component of velocity is called whirl velocity is causing for driving the turbine whereas vertical component of velocity, the vertical component of velocity it is also called flow velocity. Flow velocity is for driving the steam, or pushing the steam towards the condenser. So anyhow, since the steam is entering at an angle alpha, it is developing two component of velocities. This is the horizontal component of velocity, and this is the vertical component of velocity. This horizontal component of velocity is for driving the turbine, vertical component of velocity is for driving the steam towards the condenser. Let us go for the options. Let me read the problem once again. The component of steam velocity at the nozzle exit that gives speed to the blade is axial velocity, no, whirl velocity. Horizontal component of velocity is also called whirl velocity. Whirl velocity is causing for driving the turbine blade. Therefore, option B is absolutely correct. I hope you got my point. Let us take the next problem. This is the turbine blade. This is the blade of the turbine. Blade of turbine. Let's go for the next problem. Look at the problem. Which of the following is a water tube boiler? Option A, Cochrane boiler, Lancashire boiler, Cornish boiler, Stirling boiler. Dear friends, remember Cochrane boiler is the fire tube boiler. Fire tube boiler. Lancashire boiler also a fire tube boiler. Fire tube boiler. Cornish boiler also a fire tube boiler. Fire tube boiler. Whereas Stirling boiler is the water tube boiler. It is the water tube boiler. Water tube boiler. Therefore, the answer is option D. Stirling boiler is coming under the water tube boiler. Look at the 17th problem. The friction associated with the expansion of steam in the nozzle has the following effect compared to the expansion of the steam without friction. Let me construct the HS diagram for getting the clarity. Look at the enthalpy versus entropy diagram. This is the saturation dome. The steam is entering to the nozzle at high pressure P1. The steam pressure is dropping from P1 to P2 while the steam is expanding over the turbine blades. If I construct the HS diagram without friction, it may be like this. 1 to 2 be the expansion of the steam without friction. 1 to 2 without friction. Without friction. Without friction, enthalpy is dropping from H1 to H2. Enthalpy is dropping from H1 to H2. The drainage fraction at this state is X2. But once we consider the effect of friction, the curve is deviated like this. Once you consider the effect of friction, the curve is deviated towards 2 dash like this. For the same pressure drop, 1 to 2 dash, expansion of the steam with friction. Now look at the enthalpy at state 2. The enthalpy at state 2 is H2 dash. That H2 dash is greater than H2. And drainage fraction at state 2 dash is X2 dash. This is the drainage fraction line. This is the drainage fraction line representation for the ideal expansion. For actual expansion means with friction, this is the drainage fraction X2 dash. Here the drainage fraction X equal to 0 along the saturated vapor curve. Since X2 dash curve is very closer to saturated vapor curve, drainage fraction X2 increases. Quality X increases. Let me write clearly. Because of the friction, quality increases. Entropy also, for the first case this is the S2 equal to S1. But for the second case this is the S2 dash. So entropy increases. Enthalpy H2 dash already written, H2 dash is more than H2. Enthalpy at state 2 dash is high. And the velocity, the ideal enthalpy drop is dH equal to H1 minus H2. Then the exit velocity V2 equal to 44.72 into root under H1 minus H2. The actual enthalpy drop is dH dash equal to H1 minus H2 dash. The actual exit velocity V2 dash equal to 44.72 into root under H1 minus H2 dash. Therefore, V2 dash is less than V2. Actual velocity because of the friction is less than the ideal velocity. Now let us go for the problem. The friction associated with the expansion of steam in the nozzle has the following effect compared to the expansion of the steam without friction. Increase in exit velocity. Option A, increase in exit velocity. No. Look at the velocity. Since V2 dash is less than V2, exit velocity is decreasing. Option B, decrease in exit entropy. No, entropy increases. Here S2 dash is more than S2. Entropy increases. So second option also not correct. Come to the third option, increase in exit quality. Yes, quality increases now. So because of the friction, the quality of the steam increases. It means X2 dash is greater than X2. So therefore option C is absolutely correct. Option C is absolutely correct. I hope all of you got my point. Let's take the last problem. Look at the last problem. Which of the following is not a boiler mounting? Is not a boiler mounting. Let us take the first one. Fusible plug. Fusible plug is the boiler mounting. It is the boiler mounting. Come to the feed check valve is also mounting. Boiler mounting. Mounting of boiler. Blow off cock also boiler mounting. Boiler mounting. Whereas injector is boiler accessory. Boiler accessory. Boiler injector is for injecting the water or supplying the feed water to the boiler. Anyhow, among the given options, the component which is not boiler mounting is boiler accessory. Therefore, option B is absolutely correct. I hope you clearly got my point. Let me write the function of the injector. Boiler injector is used for injecting the feed water to the boiler drum. So boiler injector is used for injecting the feed water to the boiler. For injecting the feed water to the boiler, injector is used. It is coming under boiler accessory. it is coming under. It is coming under boiler accessory. I hope all of you clearly understood. With this problem, my dear friends, I am concluding this video. If you find any difficulty while you are practicing, you please send your doubts to the GeoByte. Definitely, I will answer for your all questions. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel called GeoByte for getting the further update information. Once again, thank you very much. Have a great day.
GeoByte.